What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I can already tell you today's episode is going to be a pain in my butt, but I hope it helps you out for your future project. Stay tuned. A brief summary of what we have going on is the engine mount on the driver's side is taken off, and you can also see the steering shaft is taken off. You can probably also see the jack that's under the car holding up the transmission because the transmission mount is taken off. We have the engine hoist pulling the engine to the passenger side, and all of this is so we can get our exhaust header into place. So I've tried every way to Tuesday to get the LOJ header into place, and this is what I've come up with. So if somebody in the comments has done this before, you know, leave a comment and let me know if I'm crazy or if it really is this difficult. But for now, what I have to deal with is this, and this was the only way I could make room for the driver's side header. Here we have the driver's side header. You can see it has a pretty good bend in it, and that is basically so that you can clear the steering shaft that comes down out of the firewall. And I can't figure out another way to do it other than to take that steering shaft out. So what we got going on here is now, with everything that we've done, we're left with this hole, and I'm thinking, well, I know, I shouldn't say I'm thinking, I know it fits in place, and now you can sneak your header in just like that. Alright, now I got the exhaust manifold in with the gasket, and next I will be attempting to put the steering shaft back onto the rack, and after that, if I'm successful, I'll be putting the motor mount back on and installing the other header. Take a look at that. We got the driver's side header on, the driver's side motor mount on, the steering shaft back on. Now it's time to move on to the passenger side header. Alright, now we're on to the passenger side, and luckily enough, it fits much easier than the driver's side, so I'm just going to squeeze this guy in. Alright, we're back, and we got both exhaust headers on, and now what we're going to be doing is installing our crank pulley. I left this front cover loose, also have it loose at the pan, and that's so that the pulley can slide on to the crankshaft a little straighter. So what we're going to do is I have a install kit, so we'll thread this into the crank, and we'll give it a bunch of thread so that it is less likely to pull out. Right there. We'll take our new harmonic balancer, which is for an LS1. We'll get it started like that. Alright, so I got my wrench and we're just going to tighten this down and suck it onto the crankshaft. Alright, now we have it tightened down to the point where it wants to bar the engine over, so we'll take it off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my old crank bolt, put it in, thread it in, and I'm going to torque it down to 240 foot-pounds, which seems like a ton, so we'll see how that goes. As you can see, I tied a couple straps around to hopefully stop the engine from turning over, seeing how I should have. And next time I build an engine, lesson learned, put the crank pulley on the engine stand. So, let's see what we can do. 240 foot-pounds. Seems pretty extreme. Whew, there it is. Holy crap. Wow. Can't believe that came off. Alright, now that I'm set up again with my straps and my new bolt, I'm going to torque it down to 235. Whew. 235. I highly recommend against doing this. I think that's super janky, so lesson learned from me. Hopefully this will help you guys do it on the engine stand. Alright, now that we have our crank pulley on, it's been torqued down to 235 foot-pounds, we're going to tighten up this front cover. That gets torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. Just gonna get these going. So the torque specs on the water pump is you're supposed to make one pass at 11 foot-pounds and the second pass at 22 foot-pounds. So there's the first pass. Let me adjust my torque wrench and we'll make the second pass at 22. And here's the second pass at 22. Alright, now that we have the water pump on, we're going to be installing our ICT Billet alternator and power steering pump bracket. So we're going to start by putting the back plate on, and I think I'm missing this bolt. I'm going to give them a call, but for now I have an Allen head that is the right thread and the right length. So I'm going to give this a shot for now and see if it can flex. Obviously, you guys will know as soon as I know, because I'm doing this real time, and if that's the case, then I will either go to the hardware store or I'll give them a phone call and see if I can get that bolt from them. But for now, we're going to give this a shot. So the instructions say to start with that bolt. See, these holes line up to the head, and then I take a bolt and slide that through here. Take another bolt. Looks like we take a spacer and it goes in here and then into the head. And it definitely looks like it would have been easier to install that. Goes like that. Definitely easier to install the reservoir tube first. So maybe I'll take it apart and come back. Let's give it a shot. Alright, got my reservoir tube back on. You can see how it sticks out past this little cutout in the bracket. And I'm going to tighten down this bolt. This bracket actually goes between the spacer and the front bracket. Like that. And I need to loosen up this guy just to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. That makes a little more sense. And sure enough, it lines up perfectly. So the alternator goes in up top and will be on here. Uh-oh. That's not good. Doesn't look like it fits. Huh. Shoot. Interesting. Huh. Wow. That clearly doesn't fit. Looks like I need the alternator that goes down here. Okay. Let me do a little bit of research. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back with a solution to the problem. When you last left off, I think you saw that the alternator that sits right here did not fit. And so what I did is, with a combination of an air hammer, a sledgehammer, and a cutting wheel, I dimpled in this area while trying to maintain the location where the upper control arm bolts into. And I believe we have success. So what I'll do now is I will start putting all of the pieces back together, which you'd already seen. And when I get to putting the alternator in, I will catch you back up. Alright, now I'm back. And as you can see, the alternator fits in place. I'm just going to get these nuts on here so it doesn't go anywhere. I also took a little bit of black paint and painted my little indentation so that it doesn't rust. So the alternator fits now, and it has plenty of room, more than enough room for the engine to move a little bit. So I'm happy with that. I'm glad we made it work. Now to install the idler pulley. Comes with the kit. take the back side, take this piece, slides right in place, and then on the front piece you take this washer and the bolt, and that assembly slides together, and then you'll take another spacer and slide it in between the brackets. Regular pulley goes in down here. That. And that I will tighten by hand for sure. Don't want to overdo it, don't want to underdo it either. It's a fine balance. Spins pretty nice. So getting the reservoir on is a little tricky. You gotta line up the mount and also line up the hose at the same time and try to finagle it on, but it's doable, not terrible. I recommend putting a little bit of, I used assembly lube because that's what I had, and just coating the tube so it slides on easier. So got myself a new lid, throw that on, and I think as far as it goes we're really close. The last piece we have to do is install our idler pulley, and it just goes up here on the water pump. Fairly straightforward. And now we can figure out how to route the belt. That's not true. What am I saying? We have to put on our power steering pump pulley. Let me grab that, I'll be right back. That's a wrap on this video. Couple days behind just due to the fact that the headers got stuck in shipping and a couple miscellaneous parts needed to be picked up, but I'm happy with the outcome. I'm glad the headers fit and we were able to make that clear. I'm glad we made the alternator fit where it fits, and I think it looks killer. So we didn't get the belt all the way on, and I still have the power steering pulley, but the tool, because it's a press fit onto the pump, should be coming in the next day or two. So I'll likely do that off camera, and in the next video I think we will be figuring out our fuel situation. If you like the video, as always, leave it a big thumbs up, and if you like the build series and what we're doing by swapping this LS into the 350Z, hit that subscribe button. If any of you have comments or questions because you're following along and thinking about LS swapping your Z as well, or just want to know more about the platform, leave a comment and maybe I can help you out. So as always, stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you then.